This is my uncle's favorite saying. We're live down in Oceanside. Well, we're not.
Yeah, well, we're live from the west side.
There you go, from the west
There
side.
we go, live from the west side. Hello, everybody. Back here for another show. Been
Looks
a
like we
great
got
week.
Parker and Johnny Boy.
Yeah,
Who's that
Yeah.
yelling?
you know, neighbors.
Oh,
Welcome to my world. Yep.
You're like, honey, get the pistol. That's LA.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool week for me, man. 2 weeks for me, actually.
So you went
What?
one more time since the last live. You went again to your spot.
Yesterday.
Yeah, what happened? Tell us about it.
The last time I left the apples, I came back to yesterday, and the apples were gone.
That's cool.
And there were no cores left on the branches. I couldn't find any remnants of anything anywhere. It almost as if something grabbed it and slid it right off the little stick nub I smashed it on.
And that's what they would have to do: slide it off or break it with it.
Right.
And
it was I the 2 apples I left out, I actually put 2 more apples on the exact same little nubs.
Oh yeah.
So they were slid off.
Cool. Yeah, that's good.
And yeah, so I left 2 more apples. I added another one a little bit further in. And when I went a little bit further in, I found a much better spot for me to chill and hang out, because that spot down in is just a field of foxtails. And it's in the sun.
Yeah.
So this other spot is much better cover for me and them. I've got a lot of shade, and I'm not sitting in foxtail, so I'm going to move things a little deeper in. And yeah, hopefully it'll.
You sitting in the foxtail in that sun. I was like, oh man.
Man, I had my hat on.
Yeah,
I had my hat on, but still, man.
It's hot.
I mean, I have to take an extra shirt with me. I get back, and I could literally wring out my shirt.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's why you need to bring somebody with you to follow behind you.
You know what? Yeah, I know. I would. Everyone says, "Oh, someone needs to go with you. Someone needs to go with you," and it's like, well, I'm afraid if someone goes with me, I'm not going to have as much luck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You never know. Yeah, you could be sensing something different with that person.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, I can hear them back there. I can hear them. This time I clearly heard footsteps walking, probably about 20 yards past that.
You say that. You're moving.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, and then I would hear it to my 3:30 position, and then at my 12. You know what I mean? And at the same time, I would hear it. So, there's obviously different individuals there, and I think I saw just this is what I saw.
Yeah, you're pointing out.
Of a red one. It was like a reddish brown color, and I'm going, that don't look like the rest. That looks fuzzy. And I sat there, and I could see it with my eyes, and I'm getting frustrated because my camera won't get it, and I'm going.
Yeah, because you got a lot of bushes in front, so it's kind of focused on those and not what's behind it. That's really hard.
Right. So,
hey, Chris.
All right, we got Chris Marola, Squatchaholic. Glad you're back with us.
Yeah, thanks for being a good moderator, like John.
Yeah. So Chris had an exciting day today.
Oh yeah.
He uploaded a video today. Went to his gifting stump, and the bracelet he left wasn't on the stump. It was like tossed off to the side a few feet. And didn't think nothing of it and stuff. Went through the video and yeah, a guy named Sean who subscribes to him pointed this out at 3:58. There's a whistle. And Chris is like, SoCal, at 3:58 there's a whistle. How come I didn't hear that? And I went, oh, I'm kind of busy right now. I have to go back and look at it. And I literally, I'm like, okay, he is very excited. I got to go look now. And I did. I went back there. I went to 3:58 and I went, whoa, there is a freaking whistle there, man. It's so subtle and it's so mellow that it would be easy just to
miss it,
But when you focus, you're like, whoa. I was telling Chris, every time he goes out, they're probably watching him the entire time from a distance. You know what I mean? Yep. So, and the same thing with Chris too, man. He puts food out there, the food disappears, but like the trinkets don't. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with me. At this point, the trinkets haven't moved, but the apples are disappearing.
Don't feel bad, Chris. I miss everything too. I miss everything.
Yeah. That's all right, Chris. We're gonna start paying more attention to your videos, man, for sure. And we'll find everything we can. But you just kind of you need to move a little slower so we can get better screenshots.
As long as he promises to go on live this once.
Yeah. But next time I go out, I actually got a bag. I got like 6 apples, and I'm gonna get a jar of peanut butter.
Oh, there you go.
Because the normal woodland creatures aren't gonna mess with a jar of peanut butter.
I know. It's
sealed up, and if that jar of peanut butter, I go back and that thing's opened and emptied. Well, that takes hands. So, that'll really cement it. But I was really happy to see that the apples were gone and that there was no remnants of anything around. And like I said, I had to take a branch and break it off, except for like the last 2 inches, 2.5 inches, from the branch it's coming off of, and I would just stick the apple down on that. Yeah. And those were there. I stuck 2 more apples on the same ones that I did before. So, that thing was slid off. If a bird was pecking it, there'd be a core there. And it would, there'd probably be a bunch on the floor, and only half of it would probably be gone because they'd be on the top of the branch pecking down. You know what I mean? Yeah, and there was, there's nothing. So, I'm sure, if it were a raccoon or a possum, if it did happen to knock it off and get down and eat it, there'd be a core left. You know what I mean? I don't think they would eat the cores. I could be wrong, but I didn't find nothing. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
You seen some footprints there too, didn't you? You seen others?
Yeah. You could definitely tell that something had been stepping in the brush. All those foxtails, foxtails and stuff. So something's walking around in there, other than me. I'd love to leave a camera out there, but we know how cameras go.
When you're out there, how long do you stay?
What's that?
How long do you stay out there when you're
5 or 6 hours?
5 or 6 hours.
Yeah, 5 or 6 hours. I usually up there by like 9. I get home about 3. I leave there about 2:30.
Did you get a recorder yet? No, huh?
A what?
Voice recorder. You haven't got.
Oh no, I have not done the voice. Have not done the voice recorder. I am going to put that out when I put the peanut butter out.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Because now that they're taking something's taking the apples.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
That's odd.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. It's just the beginning right now. It's all speculative. You know what I mean? So I'd love to leave my trail cam out there, but
We know what happens.
They probably wouldn't do anything if I did. You know what I mean? No. Apples would sit there and rot right off of the little stumps. So, you know, unless a woodland creature came along and got them.
Yeah, like mine.
Right. Yeah. But yeah. So.
Yeah, for me, food is friend.
Yeah, well, yeah. A lot of people turn to food for sure. For sure.
Yeah, I did the sardines. Boy, they love that.
Really?
They love sardines. Oh my gosh.
I don't know if I could take the smell of them. I'm not a big seafood person, so.
Yeah, but they are. I ate half the sardines before I put them out. I think they got mad about that.
You were smelling like a giant sardine.
I did. I opened up one, ate half, and then I put it out there, left the other half, and left the can. And they took everything. They took everything. But they the next day, that's when that Bigfoot came out and scared me off with that one and the one that came up behind me. And that's that day. The night before that is when I put all that gifting stuff out. That's when the apples came up missing and the tapping holes came around.
That's another thing I was thinking of too, that spot I sit in the foxtails and stuff. I mean, I'm covered. No one can see me even when I stand up because stuff is so high right now. But I mean, when that stuff starts getting lower, you know what I mean? I started, I need to find a better place.
There's a trail right there behind you?
Yeah. Like I said, these things come right up to the edge of the bush line. They just watch people all day long, back and forth. They just watch people. No one ever goes off trail, ever.
That's crazy, huh?
So, that spot I found that's a little bit further in, it's surrounded by way bigger bushes. It's like a little cul-de-sac of way bigger bushes. But where I sit now is the service road, and they can't really get to the back of me. You know what I mean? In this new spot, they're going to be able to get to the back of me.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm a little concerned about that, but I think I'm gonna sit probably 5 or 6 feet off of the tree, so they have a harder time reaching me. So
yeah, for sure.
And then plus too, I got that little tripod thing. So now instead, I don't have to like turn my head. You know what I mean? I could just spin that thing around.
Yeah.
And it's going to see whatever's behind me. So I'm going to start doing that too. So I think that's going to be a better spot for that.
Yeah.
No, Chris, no camping. No camping, no fires. It's a wildlife conservation area. You cannot overnight camp. You can go out there at night, but you can't set up a camp. You can't have a fire. You can't have any of that. So you got to keep moving. They don't want no camping, no fires. There has been zero homelessness problem up there. Except for, that one set of bags and stuff I found stashed in the bushes with that tent. I think someone was doing some illegal camping, but no camping. I mean, when I was riding my bike up there and stuff, I mean, they'd actually have rangers come and open the gates in the morning and then come close them at night. So if your car was in that gate when they locked it, you're screwed. You can't get out. So,
Yeah, they have those here, a lot of those here. I go there a lot just to compare the terrain and just see things that like I would normally see out there. I would see in town, and I'd be like, well, that's Bigfoot did that. We know that Bigfoot didn't do that in town,
Right.
So it kind of helps me mentally. And when I'm out there, I can say, yeah, maybe not,
Yeah.
I've seen this.
I saw that here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was one thing, if it was like on the edge of town, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
But
your spot, you can't say that because there's Bigfoots there.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I've got undeniable proof of it. You know, I mean,
so it's like,
they're absolutely there and stuff like that. And I mean, during a lot of my videos, you see the housing that goes up the canyon.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And there's no fences. You know, it's a house and then conservation area. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I would love to get down there and talk to some people. You know, have you heard anything at night? And
yeah, that'd be cool.
You know, yeah, I got Bronzini Bigfoot bugging me to get down to that cave. We still haven't done that, so I might do that. I know a lot of people advised against doing it alone, but needs to get done. So,
well, let me know when you want to go. I'll make arrangements to get down there.
Yeah,
I'll go with you.
Yeah, whenever, dude.
My dog here, and I'll go over there. That way, we don't have to worry about him.
Right, and I can just pick you up at the train station.
Yeah.
That sounds like a plan. And then, I was talking to Sasquatch Omega on the phone a while back, and I was telling him about that house they're building that's in construction. There was never a house there before. I think it may have been they bulldozed the spot where they probably hung out and watched people with all the cameras around it. And even he said we know what the cameras are for. Well, yeah, I know. We know what the cameras are for. He's all, that's odd. He's all, is there any other place out there with a camera system like that? Well, people have cameras on their houses, but not 28 of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Not 28 of them. Certainly, I mean, pointing outwards into the wildlife area. You know what I mean? It's just odd. So
that's funny.
I'd like to go talk to them too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's on my list. So Parkway over here says trolls live in caves, under bridges, and have a penchant for goats. Well, you know, you missed a location. Trolls also live on YouTube.
Yep.
So let's add that in.
Yep.
And pesky trolls can't get away from them no matter what.
Nope.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? No.
Have troll soup.
Yep. I'm still waiting for Chris Marola to email me so we can get him on this show.
Yeah, but no. I don't know if he will.
Yeah, well, he's got great stuff.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, it was really cool getting up there when the place was shut down.
Yeah, I bet.
You know, absolutely nobody up there. I think I saw like 4 people the entire time.
Yeah,
and it was nice to sit there and not hear kids and parents screaming at each other on the service road and don't go over there, stay on the trail, and blah blah blah. You know, the typical stuff.
There's a bearded
don't let go of the dog.
There's a bearded guy down there. Stay away from over there.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I'm always really cautious about letting people see me go into a spot. And I wasn't paying attention this last Saturday yesterday. And I come walking out of my area, and right as like 2 guys came walking up the trail, and I'm like, oh, he's all, how's it going? I'm all, it's going okay. He's all, see anything interesting in there? I'm all, eh. He's all, all right, have a good day. And I was like, even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. My camera was running the whole time. It's on video.
Yeah, I heard you saying something to somebody.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh, you know, obviously he thought that was odd that I'm coming out of the bushes, you know. I mean, I get, you know, with big old boots and a camo backpack and a camo bandana around my neck as a mask, and
sweating.
Sweating my butt off. You know what I mean? You find anything interesting in there? Not really.
Nothing you'll find interesting.
Like you wouldn't believe me even if I told you anyway. So you know what I mean? So who else? Who's coming in here? Oh, yeah, Central Florida Bigfoot. Thank you for coming. Boots on the ground with Barb. How you doing, Barb? Lily Gypsy Child's in the house. All right. Cool. Yeah. We're just no guests today. It's Mother's Day, so we didn't want to obligate anybody to do anything, and and before we get too far into it, happy Mother's Day to all those mothers out there, and
mom, dads.
Yeah, and mom, dads, and yeah, especially those ones, man. They've got to play both roles. That's a hard job. It's a hard job doing just one role.
Yep.
And you got to play both. That's a difficult job.
It is tough.
Denise Coons, happy to see you. So, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting area. So, yeah, you definitely need to come up here and stuff.
Yeah,
go check it out. It's really. I mean, like I said, I went out there and stuff just because I've spent thousands of hours out there riding my mountain bike. That was before I had the Bigfoot bug. You know what I mean?
And you think
I could have been flying down, flying down trails at 30 miles an hour with a straightforward focus. I mean, who knows how many I flew right by? You know what I mean? I went out there with absolutely no expectations. I knew how it was out there. I knew how many people go out there. And then I started finding all those hollowed out bushes. And then I found that big old barrel stuck in the tree. I got this right by that barrel, actually. I got this, I'm going, it didn't sound like a bird. Unfortunately, I didn't have my camera going when it happened, as usual. But I mean, it came from down a hill. I mean, down in the valley. I mean, that stuff is thick. I mean, a full-grown Bigfoot could walk around there all day long and never be seen because the canopy is so thick.
Yeah, so thick, tall.
Yeah. And then I went to exit 2, and that spot is a T.
Yeah.
So you got the main service road, and then you have another one that comes down and curves around and goes down into the valley, and that's where they sit.
Oh.
So they could watch all of it. You know what I mean? And Sasquatch Omega brought that up to me before I even brought it up in our conversation. He's like, I got this spot and stuff on this trail, but I always find them at a T.
Yeah.
I'm like, so do I. Because they can see more.
Yeah, they can see everything. Yeah,
they can cover more.
That's a good
idea.
So
they pick the T's on the trails. It's so weird, but I mean,
very smart.
Who knew? You know what? I had gotten an email from somebody a couple weeks ago. I forgot to mention this on the last one. Who shall remain nameless, and basically a one-liner. There's no Bigfoot in LA County. And I sent him my picture, and I'm all, yeah? Tell this to that guy.
Yeah, go find that one.
And all I got back was, exclamation. There you go, buddy. There you go, right there.
That's what I say about San Diego County, and they're like, automatically they're thinking in the buildings of high-risers downtown. I'm like, oh, we got woods here, man. We got the woods. We got it all, just like you guys.
Right. My friend used to live down in San Diego County and stuff. I forget what it's called, but it's just right inside San Diego County, out in the hills. You know what I mean? In the woods and stuff, and it's beautiful down there, man.
Yeah, it's nice over here.
It's beautiful down there. You know, I mean, it's like people think LA, they think beaches and the Strand and all these malls and shopping and big, huge sky-rise buildings downtown, and stuff like that. And they don't realize I could literally sit up on a hill out in my area and look at downtown LA. That's how close it is. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and the woods are right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. And LA, that part of LA is quite interesting, because then you have the San Bernardino and San Jacinto mountains in the east, and then it's a valley, and then it comes up to where I'm at, and that goes all the way to the coast.
Yeah, it goes to Greenbelt. It attached all that, so Bigfoot's down.
Yeah, and they go like this, and then they meet up eventually up north, and then they continue all the way up to Humboldt, and then all the way up in Oregon and Washington.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they go down that Greenbelt.
Yep.
At nighttime, they might as well be 100 miles in the middle of nowhere, because at night, that's their domain in that kind of terrain. And even if somebody did see them, it wouldn't matter anyway. Nobody's going to believe them.
Right. They probably not going to believe themselves.
Shut up. You know what I mean?
Right. I know.
Yeah.
Oh, Susan Robertson, this is my first time here. I am not a troll. I just don't have anything to add. Carry on. Well, thank you, Susan Robertson, for joining us.
And thanks for not being a troll.
Yeah, thanks for not being a troll. You don't have to chat. You don't have to do nothing. Just enjoy the show. Thank you for being here. Happy Mother's Day.
Somebody actually told me they thought I was a troll. They deleted me. I'm like, I think because they were sipping on wine, I think they were doing. And I think they thought I was there the night before. And I first time I ever been on there, and everybody's drunk by now. So they probably automatically just thought I was a troll, and they just kicked me out. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I wanted to go back and tell them something. I couldn't go back. I'm not a troll.
Yeah. It's, I've had some weird experiences out there and stuff. I was on somebody's live chat, and one of the moderators had completely just blocked me. And apparently that moderator thought I was somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm not him. That's not me. No. Oh, sorry. Oh, I got it unblocked, but it was
lucky.
That whole live stream. I'm just like, is anybody seeing this? What's going on? How come no one's seeing it? Why do my comments keep getting deleted?
I should have went back. I have 20 other channels. I should just go back and say, hey, Lewis is not a troll.
I know, huh? Lily Gypsy Child's volunteering.
What?
Yeah. I mean, you want to? I don't know if you could toss the link out there. It's up to you.
Hey, if she wants to come on, she can.
Hey, it's free. So yeah, Squatchaholic has a good question over here, and this is something I've been really paying attention to. When I first started going there, I was thinking, okay, I've been here. Water. Where's the water? Mm-hmm. Well, it turns out if I go a little bit further up exit 2, there's a huge reservoir to the right, and it's not fenced off. I could walk right down to the water's edge. Mm-hmm. So there's water. There's a huge reservoir. And actually, the last time, not this past Sunday, but the Saturday before last week, mm-hmm. I saw 2 deer. Mm-hmm. Literally 20 feet. I was 20 feet up past the gate, trying to make my way up. One was on the right side of me, took off, I saw it, and then I saw one cruise across the service road about 50 feet ahead of me. Went from my right to the left. So there's deer, there's possum, there's raccoon, there's a million freaking rabbits up there. Not to mention all the houses down in the canyons that don't have fences around it. I'm sure they have dogs. And I'm sure they leave dog food out, so that's a possibility. I've also seen those houses. Some of those houses have ponds with fish in them, koi fish and stuff. You know, I don't know how good those taste, but so I mean, the three main things are there. You got water, food, and shelter. Cover. Three main things, and they're all there. That was, you know, one of the main things I really tried to focus on finding, and I found this huge water source with no gates, barriers, or cameras around it. I saw the deer, and then not to mention the birds. I mean, there's hawks, there's buzzards, there's grouse and pheasant. You know what I mean? So
a lot of food for sure.
Yeah. You know, and then big snakes. I've been seeing a lot of rat snakes lately. Not rattlesnakes, but just rat snakes. I think I got one on video last week.
Yeah, a lot of snakes. I've seen a lot of them lately too.
You know, so everything's coming out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, and then Gypsy Child, she had a story too.
Yeah.
Bigfoot story.
Yeah.
That happened to her. Yeah. Maybe she'll tell it.
Yeah. I'd love to hear it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Morola's over here. Yeah, you need the animals. Yeah, you do. Yeah, we need the animals. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Squat coyotes. Yeah. One thing I noticed about the coyotes is.
Yep. Even in town.
Everywhere, you know, even you know what? We have a lot more coyote. I think there's a lot more coyotes down here in the cities now than there are up there.
Oh yeah,
and one thing I noticed in Idaho was the first time I went to my father-in-law's house. We were surrounded. I mean, all directions by coyote howls. The second time I went out there. Coyotes all over the place for about half the time. And then I had my sighting, and I found the kill box, and I found all kinds of, you know, stuff.
Yeah.
And no coyotes. I haven't seen a freaking coyote around there in the last 3 times I've been up there.
Wow.
So I think when they move in, the coyotes get the heck out of town.
I believe that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think they went to the next easy food source, and they came down the hill into the city, and they're getting our pets and animals and stuff like that. So
yeah. When you're around town, they cut through homes and like mobile home parks. They'll just go right through. If they see anything, they're attacking. They're quiet too.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
very quiet.
Yeah, and Chris Marola says, where I live, the coyotes and Bigfoot run together. And I've heard that too on the East Coast. I've heard that too, you know, in the Midwest and the East Coast and stuff. I guess the coyotes or the big guys have learned to use them to hunt or something. It's almost like they're using the coyotes to push the deer and stuff towards the Bigfoot, and Bigfoot just goes snap.
Yeah. Either that, or if they
rips off a leg to the rips off a leg, gives a leg to the freaking coyotes, and then takes the rest. You know what I mean? I don't know until we see it happen. You know, I mean, it's all just theory, but
I heard a story like that. A guy was hunting, and he shot a Bigfoot or shot a deer. Here she comes.
Da, 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 da.
And Well, he shot a deer and it went down, and then he saw something coming at him, and he was running really fast. And he put his gun back up, and he saw it was a Bigfoot. He shot it once in the chest. It dropped, but it didn't drop from the impact of the gun. It dropped where the deer was at, and it took off so fast it ripped the leg right off and left the deer. Hello, there she is.
Hi guys, look, hey. Lewis, I cut all my hair off.
Where'd it go?
Uh-oh. I may have
lost you.
It's a little her internet might be slow.
Right. Yeah. These live streams need quite a bit of,
let me see, let me go.
I don't know, they need something.
Let me turn down my stuff too, so it'll be a little more. Shut everything off. But yeah, it ran off so fast. It ripped off. I think it was just ripped off the leg part when it got up and left. But the guy got his deer back, but he only missing a leg.
Missing a leg, yeah. A guy had on Facebook had sent my wife a hunting story up in Washington, and wanted to know what I thought about it. And he actually gave me permission to read it on my channel, and I did. And he had shot a deer or a moose, and they tracked it, and it got dark, and they were out there in the woods with no flashlights, and luckily their buddies found them. So they got back to the cabin. They came back the next day, and they finished tracking it, and they found it down off of this cliff, and it was splayed out on its back.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, that's odd. Animals always fall on their sides with their, feet out.
Yeah.
And when they got down there, it was splayed out and it was ripped open, but all the insides were taken out.
Oh, wow.
And they could see big, huge prints walking around it.
Wow. That's weird. Well, you made it back again.
Yeah. I know. Sorry, I don't know. They trying to keep me from talking, y'all. Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
I know, my mind still is trying to grasp what all went on with me. And I have thought about coming on here many times. I thought I would kind of, prepare a little bit and write some key points out so we can get too off track and jumbled up, because it does happen. I guess I'll just jump in and go, man. So I'm in Texas, and I was living on a ranch about an hour north of Austin. It's very close to a significant landmark, which is called Enchanted Rock. And the Indians believe that it was a very magical place. Now, with that being said, let me kind of start off with when I first moved to the ranch and what started occurring. And I have a boxer dog, and we were sitting on I hadn't been there a couple of weeks, maybe. We were sitting on the porch. It was a pretty good sized ranch. I was the only one out. I mean, I'm out in the middle of nowhere, pretty much 15 miles from the nearest town. And there were a few neighbors around, but they kind of kept to themselves. I wonder about that now. But anyway, so my dog and I are just sitting on the porch enjoying the sunset, and there were cows out there walking, loose. And I hear what I think is a cow coming up this little hill over by these cattle pens. And I look over and I don't see the cow. And I guess it'll come up the hill in a minute. Well, I keep hearing the noise. I'm like, what the hell is that? And the dog's looking too. I always look down at my dog to see what reaction is he having. And so the noise continued, and I'm looking over there going, there's no cow. What am I hearing? And it wasn't windy. And hearing a little bit, and maybe somebody can explain to me what the heck this thing was. Um, do we need to wait for Lewis to hear the story? He's heard part of it. Anyway, I'm looking for the cow to come up the hill, and as I look over, I'm still watching for a cow. Me and the dog are both watching it. What is the noise? And a little ways away, from the porch, I begin to see something movement, and it looks circular. It's not a solid object. It's as if, you know how when there's a whirlwind and you can actually kind of see that disturbance. Okay, it was kind of similar to that, but like I say, it wasn't windy at all. And it was probably 2 foot, 3 feet in diameter, maybe 2 foot in diameter. And it starts coming towards the porch, and it looks like it's raised off the ground a little ways, and I'm going, what is that? And I'm looking back down at the dog like, does he see it? And he's seeing it, and I'm going, wow. And he doesn't move a muscle. And we're both just sitting there watching this thing. Well, my Tahoe was parked a little ways in front, directly in front of the porch, sideways. And this thing comes kind of towards my Tahoe, and it kind of goes on the back side of it. And I'm kind of looking under my Tahoe, like, can I see it? And as I'm doing that, I glanced down at the dog, and he's doing the same thing, looking at, what is that thing? And you can see it move around the Tahoe. It comes around the back of the Tahoe and starts approaching the porch. Now, at this point, I'm about to freak out. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell this is. This is not a normal occurrence. And why or what, I've never said these words before, and why they came out of my mouth, I can't even tell you. But it came out of my mouth, and I said, in the name of Jesus, I rebuke you. And that thing shot off away from us and went down the road just a little bit and cut behind some mesquite trees into a pasture and just gone. So that was the first experience.
Wow, that is.
It was weird. It was very weird.
To
And I
say
just
the
went, wow,
least.
that's weird. I've never seen that before. I've seen different things, UFOs, what I thought were UFOs and stuff. And I was like, wow, that was crazy. So it rocked on for a while. I didn't really have any other occurrences for a few months. And then I got the bright idea that I wanted to, this is when I got into YouTube and started filming stuff, and I decided I wanted to get into, oh gosh, I won't think of the word for it, where you go out and you build stuff out of tree limbs and stuff, like little forts and stuff, stuff where you could stay in for the night and such. Anyway.
The shelter?
Yeah, kind of like that. And so, where the house was at that place, it was kind of surrounded by mesquite pasture. But back down another direction, there was a lot of live oak trees. It was heavily wooded, I would say. And just in that one particular area, it was like a different world down in there. It was really pretty, But it was one of those places you go into and go, "Ooh, this feels different." Not a scary way, but it just felt like almost like a magical something. And I saw where Parkway, as I'm trying to come into here, I could see Parkway saying there's little people too, Lee. I believe that, because what I'm fixing to tell you happened next, I did something wrong, real wrong. Okay, in the meantime, I've gone, now this is the place where I would go and gather firewood, because the house was heated either by an electric heater or by the fireplace. So I would collect a lot of firewood back there. One day when I was back there collecting firewood, there was a perfectly pristine deer skull with horns, a 10-point buck, horns intact. And I took it because I thought it was cool. And I went and put it up. I went
No,
and
no,
put it
then
up.
you find a 10-pointer, you know what I mean? So,
I know. Who's not going to pick that up? I mean, my God. So anyway, I hung that on the porch, okay? This was after the spinny thing. And so then I decided I was going to get into the building of the shelter stuff. And I still can't think of that word for that. Bushcraft. Going to get into bushcrafting. I thought that'd be fun. So anyway, so I go out there. Yep, there she goes. Susan read my mind. So I go out there and I'm starting to do that. Now, I take the dog with me, but I would keep him on. There's mountain lions and stuff out there too, okay? So I would keep him on his tie out because he's a boxer, and once he gets his nose to the ground, boy, he's gone, and there ain't no calling him back or nothing. He's just gone. And I was afraid some of the other area ranchers might shoot him or something if they saw him running over there. So I wouldn't allow him to do that. So he was tethered out there with me and just laid out there in the shade, having a good we were having a great day. It was a beautiful day. Well, there were several, what I now know as structures, and I did not know it at the time. And I disturbed them in order to make my shelter.
oh no.
Now, this is the hindsight looking back, okay? Yeah, I disturbed them. And the reason I bring up the little people is because I believe that they had taken these branches and put them down to the ground so that the little people could climb up and have a way to go through the trees. Call me crazy or whatever, but this is what I believe now, looking back, what I think was going on. So I'm pulling these branches, these dead branches down that, they're just going to fall and hit somebody in the head. They're the perfect thing to make a fort out of, right? So I'm pulling them down and bring them over here, and I'm lashing them together and building, I'm getting to build me I'm like, I'm at it, man. I'm going to town. Well, it starts getting dark. And I have a friend that's going to come out to dinner, and I'm thinking, well, I guess I better. It's probably getting to be about 4 o'clock, and this was in.
Hello.
Yeah.
She'll come back.
Yeah. That's a big problem. I mean, people don't know what they're looking at, and they use it to build like she did without even knowing it. I mean, and that was the perfect human logical sense. And you see it's gonna fall, they're gonna hurt someone.
There she is.
Holy cow! Anyway, I don't know how long I'm like, how long? It's like being abducted by a UFO. I'm just here with everybody spinning. But anyway, so so I decided I needed to start heading back up to the house because it's about 4 in the afternoon, and it's like it's probably like, I think that was in late September or October. So fall, is coming on, and so dark 30 is coming at about 6 or 6:30, something like that. So I'm like, well, I better get back up to the house, and I'll come back down here and mess with this another day. So I started gathering stuff up. Well, actually, just as I had that thought, there are some guys that come out there and hunt deer. It's a deer lease also, especially back in that wooded area, and they have a deer feeder back there. Well, the deer feeder goes off, and it startles my dog, and he barks, and he never barks at anything like that. And he scared me when he barked, and I was like, knock it off, man. You scared the hell out of me. Don't be doing that. It's just a deer feeder. What are you, crazy? And so I am continuing picking up my stuff, and I start taking stuff to the Tahoe. And as I'm going over to get a hold of him and load him in the Tahoe, it whooped at me. and it whooped at me so hard, I swear to God, my hair blew backwards. And it just vibrated through my body, and I said, oh my God, I know what that is. Now, I had never heard one whoop. I had never really investigated any of this, but I knew immediately what it was. How, I don't know. And I thought, oh my God. Fear struck in me like fear had never struck in me before.
Yeah, it sends a chill up your spine.
It does.
Like you're like something's gonna
Yeah.
seriously hurt you.
And then my dog barked at that, and I went, oh, no, we ain't gonna cause no problems with this thing. No, we ain't either. So I walked over, and I just yanked that tethered tie out of the ground, like with superhuman strength, and I'm like, come on. And I go and open the door, and boy, he loads right up. He's like, all right, Mama, let's go. Because he's still looking back that way going, what the hell was that? He's like me going, what? What was that? And so I couldn't get out of there fast enough. Now, granted, it's not very far up to the house. And I'm just like driving like a bat out of hell, just going, oh my God, what is going on here? This is the weirdest thing I've ever experienced in my life. In the meantime, of that time period, I had fenced off the porch with cattle panels. It's big. I don't know if y'all know what cattle panels are. It's like a really thick gauge wire. They're about 8 or 10 foot long. And anyway, I fenced the porch off with that, and then made a place where he could go to the bathroom because I'd seen a mountain lion footprints up at the front gate. And I didn't, and it prevented him from running off and all that mess. So we get back up to the house, and I'm trying to get myself calmed down and just going, what just happened? That's like the weirdest thing that it was just weird. So I go in and I start preparing food for my guest that's coming out there, and I leave Domino on the porch, gate closed, and when I go back out to start the fire, no Domino. He has escaped through the gate. This sends me into a huge panic. I'm like, oh my God. No, I don't need you running around out there with some weird thing out there screaming at us. And I screamed at him at the top of my lungs. I would not leave the yard to go look for him because I just had that fear running through me already so bad. Why I did not just, I think my rational mind was like, just go ahead and do dinner and everything's going to be fine. And your rational mind takes over, and it's like, this is what you do to get through an experience like this. And so now I'm panicking. My daggum dog's run off. Oh my God, where have you gone? Which way? I don't know which direction he went. I don't know if he went back down yonder where we had the currents or where he is. And I'm hollering. And then the person that's coming out there calls me to tell me they're on their way. And I say, hey, when you come to the gate, look for Domino because he's run off, and see if you can see him on your way. And so, of course, he shows up, and I say, did you see Domino? And he's like, no. He's like, he'll be back. Don't worry about him. And I go, you don't understand. You do not understand what I've been through today. And he goes, well, what have you been through today? I said, never mind. My dog needs to come back to this house right now. And I'm hollering. I heard him bark one time before that guy arrived. And he was directly the opposite direction from where this other place was. And I thought, well, okay. Not that thing couldn't have gone around that way. I hear him bark, and I'm hollering, come on. And in the meantime, I hear a grunting noise. Well, in my mind, I think it's a wild pig. I'm like, well, this is the last thing I need for this dog to get tangled up with a wild pig. What's going on out here? Why am I hearing that down yonder? And now I'm hearing this wild pig. Well, now I don't think it was a wild pig at all.
I know you guys have, you're in Texas, and I know you have a big wild pig issue.
Yeah. Yes.
I've actually seen videos where people hunt with dogs, wild hogs, and they have special bulletproof vests that cover the dog's neck and their chest, and I mean those hogs they'll cut you real quick.
They will tear you up.
Right.
And they can kill a dog really quickly. Even a big dog, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so the guy shows up and I'm telling him, holler for my dog. Maybe if he hears your voice, it'll pique his interest enough where he'll want to come to the house and say, who is this? So he hollers and whistles for him a few times. And here directly, finally, here he comes, just running as fast as he can back to the house. And I'm like, don't you do that? And I just grab him up and I'm going, don't do that to me. Why? And I'm crying. Now I'm crying. Why you do that to me? Don't do that to me. It was like a little child, right? That's going to run out in the street. Don't do that to me. You just scared me so badly. Don't do that to me. And this guy is standing there going, this lady's lost her damn mind.
He don't know nothing.
So be it, bud. So be it.
He doesn't know what you went through. He doesn't know what you heard. He doesn't know what you experienced, and he's just looking at you like your dog got out. What's the big deal? It came back.
Yeah. Why is she overreacting so badly?
How's that crap going?
I put Domino back on the porch, and we had started a fire, and I was going to cook something out there on the fire, and we sit down, and I proceed to start to tell him what happened, and he's like blank, and I'm going, oh, I shouldn't have said anything. I should have just canceled him coming out here, but I think I really did want another human being there, you know? And I'm like, uh-oh, I see the lights have gone out and he's not hearing what I'm saying. Uh-oh, he thinks I'm nuts. He really thinks I'm nuts. And yeah. And so even as we're sitting there while the food is cooking and there are strange lights in the sky, and I say to him, do you see those lights in the sky? And he goes, yeah, kind of looks like an airplane or something. And I said, you might think that. And he said, because I've been seeing these lights over in that direction. And that's more the direction where this enchanted rock is at. Well, they just come straight up out of the ground and a very bright, luminous light. But they would come up straight out of the ground. And I watched them many times out the living room window going, what is that? That's not an airplane. Airplane don't come straight up off the ground. And it was not a helicopter. So anyway, he gets his binoculars out and he's looking at these lights and he goes, no, that's not an airplane. I don't know what that is. But he still ain't believing me that something's going on, even though he's seeing that. His rational mind was he was not open to any kind of anything, evidently, you know. So his rational mind was like, she's just nuts. It's just something. It's just a light in the sky. It's nothing. You know, to each their own, whatever, man. You know, you've got all these connections that just happened to me today, and that ain't no airplane. Anyway, so that pretty much severed that relationship, and I did make the mistake of we hunt. That was when I was still drinking, and we hung out at a local bar. I made the mistake of telling a couple of people in there, asking, have you ever experienced anything weird in these parts? You know, these were locals. And I was immediately labeled crazy. And everybody I thought that I had made friends with since I'd moved to that area then turned their back on me. And so be it. And so anyway, after that little experience, I never went back to back down there again to the wooded area. And it was just, for me, it was a frightful experience. I know some people don't have a frightful experience, or they don't take it as a frightful experience. But in my case, I had disturbed something that I shouldn't have disturbed. And they were not happy about that. Plus, the dinner bell on the deer feeder went off, and it was like, get out. Get out of our territory now. And or maybe they were just calling the little ones to dinner. Who's to know? But I believe they have the ability to either strike fear into you or not strike fear into you. And they dang sure struck the fear in me.
Oh yeah, they can do that.
Yeah, for sure.
So about a month later, I went to town and stayed for about a week or so. My camper trailer was parked in town, and I decided maybe I didn't want to be out there for a little bit. I really needed my mind to try and wrap around what had happened and what was going on, and I was scared to be out there by myself. I didn't have a gun that I thought was capable enough of protecting myself. Not that a gun is going to protect you in that situation anyhow. And I said, oh my gosh. So I went and digested the information for a little while. And then I finally got the nerve to come back out there. And I'd been out there a couple weeks, and no occurrence of anything. Still hadn't gone back down there. Oh, the next day when had decided to leave for a little while, the next day I'm loading my stuff up into the Tahoe, and it whistles at me. And I said, I just turned over there and looked, and I said, I'm going. You can have it. You can, I don't know if I'm coming back, but you can have it. You can have it all. I don't want none of it. I don't want my clothes. I don't want my nothing. I'll take my cameras and my laptop and my stuff I need the most, and you can have the rest of it. I don't want none of it. You can have it all. And, but I did go back, and no occurrences for about, I don't know, 3 weeks or a month maybe. And I'm laying in bed, and that my bedroom window faced that direction of that area down there. There was an old pecan tree that was dead outside the window. It was a pretty big one. And I wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of an owl hooting.
Them pesky 600-pound owls.
Those are the worst ones, you know.
Yeah, I think she froze up on us again.
Yeah,
but I mean, I've had my whistling contest with one up in Idaho. I've had them tapping on the glass, freaking out my dog. Missing memory up in that one area. So they're definitely capable of some unique abilities. So
I don't know if she's still listening, but I sent another code just so you can come back in, so she don't have to search for the other one.
Right.
I think she lost the other one.
Yeah, so
It's pretty cool, huh? Told you she had a story. I would be tripping. Oh, sorry, Ozzy. Come on, bud. Come on, Come on.
So Barb's over here. She's got a 600-pound owl who hoots a tune now.
Holy cow. I know, right? Okay, so I wake up to the sound. I'm sorry for y'all for the...
It's all right.
Happens to us too.
Oh, yeah.
I wake up to the sound of an owl hooting. And I love hearing owls hoot, This one sounded a little bit different, but I didn't think anything about it. And then it sounds like a lot of different animals. It sounds like a hog, a wild hog. It sounded like a coyote. It sounded like a monkey. And
They could sound like all those, for sure.
That scared the living daylights out of me even worse.
Yeah, even my sister told me when we were out there at night, she goes, "That sounds like a monkey," and I go, "Yeah." And
a monkey or an ape or a something, ooh,
yeah,
that thing.
Yeah,
and I went, oh my God, it's at the house. Whatever it was. Now I do wonder if was that Bigfoot? Was that dog man? What some shape shifting something? I don't know what that was. It scared me bad enough. It scared me even worse than the hollering at me. And it scared me bad enough that I had my granny's Bible sitting on my dresser in the room. And I just leaped up out of bed and I grabbed that Bible and I went into the living room and sat in the recliner just clutching that Bible to my chest. Why did I do that? Why do that? I don't know. It's just like what I said to the thing that was spinny on the ground, what I said to it and it went away. How the thought comes of grab your Bible or say this or that. I don't know where that comes from, how that occurs or what. So that scared me. That really, really scared me and concerned me about now what is going on out here? Now I feel like they got a bead down on me. And I didn't sleep the rest of the night, needless to say, and I never slept in that bedroom again, as a matter of fact. I slept in the living room from then on. Why I thought I was safer in the living room, I don't even know. But for some reason in my mind, I was safer in the living room. And a couple of nights later, I hear what sounds like somebody throwing rocks onto the tin roof of the house. And I'm going,
sounds like them.
Oh no. Okay, they're approaching the house now.
Oh yeah, they know you're
in
there.
Why did I think that would never happen? I don't know. I don't know if I thought that thing was just traveling through there and I don't know. And then a couple of nights later, sitting there in a recliner, hadn't quite gone to lay on my couch yet, and a mountain lion screamed.
Oh man.
And it sounded like it was on the porch. And I had never heard that in person before, but I knew, it sounded just like a mountain lion to me. God knows what it really was. But there were prints. There were prints because a friend came out the next day and checked. And he wasn't 30 yards from the house. Now, my dog had sat there those few days before that. He would sit in the corner of that porch and he would look directly over to where those cattle pens were and where the footprints were seen by the mountain lion. And he wouldn't move a muscle. He would just sit there and just stare for the longest time. And it just made me nervous because I'm like, he's seeing something that I cannot see. And I would make him come in the house. So I finally decided that Lily couldn't take it no more. I was in a dangerous position. I had put myself in a dangerous position. Now, I love going out into the Colorado forest or wherever, and I camp alone. And I'm never fearful of anything. Although I have seen some signs now that I've done the research. I did see some signs in a Colorado forest of some activity, and at nighttime would smell something horrible. I thought it was a bear. It wasn't a bear. It wasn't anything close to being a bear. That's hindsight too, Thank God I didn't know that at the time. I really would have freaked out in the Colorado forest,
Yeah, I bet.
But I had had enough, and just couldn't handle it anymore, you know. And let alone me, I'm all of 5'3.5" and a 100 and something pounds, and they just snap me up like this, bink. And if you wanted to get me, they would have, I assume.
Oh,
But they sure did not want me there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you haven't been back now, huh? Lost her again.
Yeah.
I bet she hasn't been back. And I wonder if the bushcraft is still going on. No more bushcraft.
No more bushcraft.
Yeah.
No more bushcraft for sure.
If I was a non-believer, I think bushcraft would have stopped too for me.
Yeah. And I mean, when you don't know what to look for, and you're not into the subject, I mean, you go out, I mean, that's what you think, you think, oh, it's bushcraft, or, it's this, it's that, oh, you know what I mean? And then you start hearing whoops and ape sounds, and it's like, okay, well, I've seen enough National Geographic to know what that is.
Right, exactly.
Ain't that something, y'all? I got a full signal right now, and this thing is kicking me out of here.
That's all right. We're going to end the show anyway. It's already been an hour already.
It's the traffic on the internet.
It is. A lot of people not working.
Internet traffic. So
I mean, that's pretty much the end of my experience anyway. Except for the one other thing that now I am about an hour and a half north of that area, and live close to my son. And one night I had the thought of it was outside my camper, and I thought, why would you think that? That's silly. Why are you thinking that? Well, about a week later, I see on the internet, and I sent it to Lewis through email. And I don't know if you ever watched. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
It was. I live kind of close to Brownwood, Texas now, and there was a Bigfoot spotted on the side of the road. I mean, in broad daylight.
Yep.
And it's these guys that are traveling. I guess they had gotten off work, and they were all in a company pickup. That a lot of company pickups, they record the road footage, and they and you hear one of the guys go, "Dude."
Yeah. Pretty interesting stuff, man. That is for sure. It is absolutely crazy stuff,
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I wonder what everybody's doing on Mother's Day right now.
Well, I hope all the mothers are having a good day given everything going on, I mean.
Yeah.
Doing the old.
Somebody's here.
Doing dinner by video chat, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Have a candlelight.
Yeah. So interesting. We're definitely gonna have to have her back.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, like she said, her being her age and her weight and her height and not having any knowledge of this, I mean, I can only understand.
Yeah, and not having anybody out there with you either.
Right. The terror that, the fear that she felt,
Yeah.
Gosh. Maybe I saw who was that? Central Florida or somebody. Maybe they are outside right now.
Yeah, it could be. Could be.
Anyway, that thing was spotted, and I thought that was so odd. That's why I was telling somebody in the chat earlier. I think it was Chris or somebody that they can even be where there aren't any tall trees, because this thing was in a mesquite pasture, and it was way taller than the mesquite trees.
Yep.
And in broad daylight. And anyway, they captured it on their dash cam, and you hear one of the guys say, "Did you see that? That looks like a Bigfoot or something." And it takes you a minute. You really have to slow the footage down. And I had to watch it a few times going, what are they talking about? And then finally I caught it, and I was like, whoa, that thing is tall. It's straddle. It's where the legs meet the stuff. I mean, it was taller than a pickup that was sitting there. You could tell that's how tall that thing was.
Yeah, it looks like a big tree.
Yeah, it does almost, doesn't it? At first I thought it was somebody in like a black coveralls or something because it's wintertime. And I thought, well, that's a strange color of coveralls to have. They're usually like that light tan around here. That's weird.
Right by it, too.
Yeah.
I saw that.
And then I was like, oh my God, that thing's huge. And I went, did it come looking for me? What's it doing here? What's it doing here? Oh no. I don't know if they follow you around or not. But I think once they get your number, they got your number.
Yeah, they follow you.
And yeah, and so hopefully they're not angry with me anymore, and I won't, I'm out of their area, and I'll let them have it.
A lot of times and stuff, people will get rocks thrown at their house and stuff like that, and they always land on the roof. I've never heard of one like deliberately like throwing rocks and busting out the windows like a human does, or a human would. I think what they're doing is they're trying to get you to come out because they want to interact with you, and as scary as it seems, I mean, it's just kind of what they want to do. They want to learn about us just as we want to learn about them. So, kind of a Mexican standoff. We're staring at them and they're staring at us, both trying to figure out what we're looking at, So, awesome stories. Awesome stories.
Well, thank you for coming on. I lost her.
Yeah.
There she is.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, that's pretty much my story, and I'm sticking to it.
We appreciate you coming on and telling the story.
Thanks for having me. I still try to wrap my brain around it, and I see all the great comments, and y'all know that I definitely will go back and watch this replay and read all y'all's comments. I see some great comments in there. Even if I miss the show, I always go back and I rewatch it because I think it's important that we come forward with our stories and we try to understand more about it. Try not to be fearful of it, and hopefully you don't have a fearful experience. And like I say, if they'd wanted to get me, they would have got me. I see that now, but at the time being alone, I was, it was terrifying for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of us researchers out there and stuff that go out into the woods and we see these beings, and I personally have seen how fast they are. I mean, you're not going to outrun it. I mean, and they don't make a Ferrari that'll go through the woods yet.
No.
And like you said, if they wanted us dead, there'd be a lot more of us missing. A lot more of us dead, for sure.
And with the information that Ken and Rachel are coming up with now, I believe that we've come to a time where they're kind of wanting to interact with us. They're kind of wanting us to know they have something to teach us. So I believe they have a very powerful knowledge greater than ours. And we know that they use many more senses than what we're capable of using. And so I think they're just trying to kind of make contact now and go, hey, what's up?
A gentleman that me and Lewis had just recently met named Mike. I had a nice conversation with him, and he brought up, their special abilities and stuff like that. And he had a good point. Humans, when we're born, we're all born with this stuff, but over time, and we're conditioned through school and all this stuff that, giants don't exist, Bigfoot doesn't exist, monsters don't exist, and we're desensitized to it. So like you said, they have a much greater
Ah,
understanding and knowledge, and I think it's a much greater understanding of knowledge of nature and how nature really works. And they haven't been corrupted by technology and all of this, stuff like that. And he has a
yeah.
good theory that maybe they're born with their third eye open already.
I believe that to be true, and it stays open. And you're right about the conditioning. And now I look back and I think about all those fairy tales. Fairy tales. They're all
They had to,
true, man. They're all
yeah,
true.
they all had to start somewhere, right?
Yeah,
They all had to start somewhere. Yep,
absolutely.
absolutely. Yep,
Absolutely.
yep.
Well, Daniel Boone was in this area, and um, he there's a story of him encountering Bigfoot in East Texas out there. So, you know what? That was in the 1800s, early 1800s. I guess it would be 1830s or something. Um, if Daniel Boone is going to tell a tale of something like that, of the same thing, describing the same thing that people experience today, there's something to it, y'all.
Well, here's something that I don't know if you know. President Roosevelt was a very big avid hunter,
Mm-hmm.
and he has had a Bigfoot experience. And shortly after his Bigfoot experience, he designated all of the national parks. Interesting,
That
huh?
that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? I
Doesn't
mean,
it?
it does
Yeah,
and it doesn't make sense, but yeah, there's something to that the reason that they made certain areas national parks and certain areas that we can't access, and they know why. And they don't want us to know why because our minds cannot handle it. The majority of people.
you're right.
I mean, just
I
look at
believe
this
so.
little thing I went to. This is life changing. This changes your life. I have
Hmm.
not even told my son this story.
Well,
I have
hopefully
not
he's
even
not
told
watching
my
tonight.
son.
Yeah, he better not be watching this then.
He won't be. He won't be. But
But
I'm gonna tell him
and then,
someday. I'm gonna tell him someday because I want him to know that these things do exist.
Yeah.
And being mindful, if you see branches laying around, don't be moving them around and such.
it's not yours to move around.
Not yours to mess with. Don't pick up
No,
the
it's
skulls
not.
off the ground.
Yeah, right, right. Um,
Yeah.
I was watching a video. I forget who it was. I think it was Diesel in New Jersey. He was walking through and he found a deer skull, but it was an older deer skull with the rack still on it, and it was on a branch with other ones pulled out of each side of its eye sockets. Now, why would a human do that? And I
No
mean
clue.
that took time. I mean that took time to get all those branches up through the middle of it and then out the eye sockets so it'll stay up. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And with
and
this
even
place where I was at, you can't tell me that these hunters that were out there did not see. It wasn't a deer that they killed. I mean, anything could have killed it. But if they had been walking that property, it was laying in plain sight. And why would they have not picked it up? They would have been fascinated with it just as much as I was.
right,
And
you know,
I didn't put it back. I gave it to my friend that came out to look for the mountain lion tracks, and he decided he wanted it. And then later we were sitting on his porch one day, and I glanced up and saw that deer skull, and I go, maybe I shouldn't have picked that up that day. And he goes, they better not come up here, Lee. He believed me. He was the only person in that town that believed me. And because he had experience years ago. And not in that area, but a different area that even shocked me more that it was in that area. I was like, well, you're kidding me. What? And He's like, they better not come looking for this thing. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. It's yours now. Take it back.
Yeah,
I ain't
it's your
taking it
problem
back.
now. You can take it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's your problem. They ain't bothered me since I gave it to you, so
Yeah, no doubt.
it's on you
Anyway,
now.
who
But yeah,
knows?
the last time it's last Sunday I was out in my area, and I'm usually pretty discreet, about what I'm doing out there and stuff like that. And well, come walking out of my spot right onto the trail right as two people come walking up the trail, and they obviously thought it was rather odd that I was coming out of the bushes. And he looks at me and he's all, "How's it going?" "Oh, it's going good." He's all, "Find anything interesting in there?" No. No.
Thank you,
So,
Parkway.
it's
Do
like
you think they had an experience, or do you think they were something
I because the way he said it, "Did you find anything interesting in there?"
else?
Almost,
Those
almost made me
particular
feel like
words.
it almost made me feel like he was a local and he's seen something.
Yeah, it
You
sounds
know,
like that to me too. Yeah.
so
I
but
really won't talk about it. I mean, here I am talking with you guys, but I trust this little community y'all have gotten going on, and I think it's important to tell your story. You just have to be careful who you tell your story to,
right,
because if you live in a small town, it can wreck your world.
Yep.
Yeah. Until
and
somebody
plus
else
talking
has.
about it helps you. Talking
It
about it helps
does.
you.
It does. And
So,
hearing other people talk about it and their experiences, and the girl y'all had on here last week, she blew my mind. That
Marie
stuff.
Mason, paranormal Mason exploring. Yeah, she
Yeah, I
got
think I still have her written down on my board. I have a bunch of
yeah.
y'all written down. I got to go watch your videos and
Yeah.
check y'all's channels out. But
She started out doing Bigfoot research, and then she just she started finding other stuff, and it took her down a whole separate
yes,
rabbit hole. You know
yes,
what I mean? So
yeah,
it all stemmed from Bigfoot, though. But
yeah.
she's got some crazy stuff. Really makes you think. And there's definitely a lot more to this world than we think there is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Not just
So,
the spirit side of it. And I heard you saying that you didn't want anything to do with ghosts. I really don't either. I think I'd rather encounter Bigfoot than I would ghost. You know
Yeah,
what I
me
mean?
too.
I don't know. I don't know that I really want to encounter any of it. I'm not going to go searching for it. I'm going to let y'all go searching and y'all come back and report to me.
it's
Told you.
gladly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not into the spirit thing and
I
stuff. That's
think
just a little
it
I
would be.
know it's out there and I know it
Yeah.
exists.
Mhm.
I ain't gonna go playing with it because I can't
I
see
would, I
it.
would I would go back to that place if I had one of you guys with me, and I'd be like, come on, let's go look around, y'all with me. I don't know how I think y'all gonna keep me safe, but
Well, it's a false sense of security, but there is
yeah,
strength in numbers.
Mhm.
yeah,
So,
true.
you
And but I didn't really see any like teepee structures or anything like that. You would just see the branches that would come down out of the trees. And then later on, I did find from the main gate, kind of back towards where that place was, there would be sticks laid. And at first, like I tell you, I was collecting firewood. And then one day I was out there collecting firewood, and then there were all these sticks laying, and they were like kind of in a straight line, spaced a certain way, and as if they were pointing to something. And I went, wait a minute, how are those there? I just picked up firewood. How those sticks getting there? And it dawned on me, oh my God, these are signs. They're pointing to that area back there food. There's food back there.
Mhm.
And I went, oh my gosh. So I showed my friend that the day that he came out to see the mountain lion tracks. And I said, before we leave out of here, we're going to stop up here before we get out the gate. And I want to show you something over here. And I showed him, and he was like, wow, that is weird. He goes, it does seem like they're pointing that direction. And I go, but why would it be up on the main road? Well, my God, here it is up here, a few miles away from me on a major highway. And this was just a little old county road. Why wouldn't they be come across that road? Now, because at first I thought, well, they would never be on the road. They wouldn't want to be seen. Wrong. Wrong.
Yep.
So they had a direct sign pointing back that way. Food.
Yeah, a lot of times and stuff when I go out, that's what I do is I follow the signs, and it's normally a tree that's been broken down. So I'll continue the way the tree was broken. I'll find another one and follow it.
That's what I saw in Colorado. That's what I saw. Now out at this place back there were what they have called bee bushes, and it's just this brushy bush that has these little thorny things on it, and they would be like almost manicured over, like somebody could get up in there and lay up in there, and I thought, that's interesting. And it would always be held down with a big log or a branch, and I thought it was Mother Nature doing that. And now I don't think that now. I think it was beds for the babies.
Yep. Nice thick.
That's one thing I've noticed in my area is because we don't have a whole lot of trees in my area. We've just got big giant bushes. And I went up there thinking there's too many people around. It's too populated. I had no expectations. And I started finding hollowed out bushes. And they were right up at the tree line, right at the line. I mean, literally 60 feet from the trail where hundreds of people walk back and forth all day
There
long.
wasn't hundreds of people walking out here, but it was just kind of the same thing, same setup.
And if you get up close and start looking at it, you'll notice that all the branches are broken down into make this hollow cavity in these bushes.
Yeah.
And there's never been any reported sightings up there. There's been never any missing people, never any missing animals.
Yeah.
They just sit there and it's almost like we're their entertainment. And
yeah, I can kind of see that too. And they certainly had a lot of privacy out here on this ranch, the ranch that I was on, because it was very desolate there. And I don't know if I'm frozen or not. There we go. Come on, come back.
We're back. Yep.
Anyway, it was very desolate there, so I don't know.
But yeah, definitely sounds like you had Bigfoot wandering around your property. I don't know what that whirlwind thing was. That is very concerning.
It makes me wonder if, say, like, with the different animal sounds, and I said, was that a shapeshifter or what was that? Was this object that day a shapeshifter trying to come into, was it passing between one world and another, or trying to, come into a body or a thing or something, a physical form or something?
Right.
And they're asking, who is today's guest? Somebody in the chat is asking, who is today's guest?
Today's
He's anonymous.
Well,
I don't have any Bigfoot stuff on my channel. I just come and support you guys and watch y'all.
Right.
Don't go to her channel and tell anybody that she's in a Bigfoot.
No, don't tell anybody, man. They'll label me crazy. They'll be like, we knew that Gypsy Child was crazy. My God.
I told her, do a shout out for me in her channel. She's like, all right, guys, I don't know. I'm not crazy. But
I did it, didn't
North
I?
County
I did
Bigfoot,
it
if you believe
anyway.
that.
I was like, I don't care. They can think
I'm
me
not
crazy.
crazy.
Now I really don't care. People are gonna label you crazy. They're gonna label you crazy. I don't really
Yeah.
care. I know what I experienced, and I would, if somebody were to tell me that story, that they had that experience, I would never judge somebody and say they're crazy. Why would you do that to another
I
human
know.
being? Some human beings are just mean,
Yeah, there's
flat
some
out
bad
mean.
people out there.
Yeah.
And whatever, that's their karma, not mine, right?
Ah.
And you
But
know, they can be mean all they want. I only hope that maybe when they do get out in the woods, that they
Oh yeah,
can eat their words.
they're
That
I
they can
tell
go
you,
out and eat their words.
a lot of these people, I'm like, oh, I hope they experience it. Oh, I hope they experience something just so they can go, wow, Lily wasn't so crazy after all, was she?
You know, it's kind of funny. Just before the show, me and Lewis were talking. Me and my wife go to northern Idaho a lot, and we stop at Klamath Falls, you know, overnight. And she has a friend that lives up in Klamath Falls, which is very close to Crater Lake. And she knows I'm really into Bigfoot. Like, she knows that. And she's like, I've lived up here my whole life. I've never seen nothing. She sent Jamie a picture today of a structure she found. And she's like,
oh.
And I showed Lewis, and Lewis was like, "Yep, that's what they do."
There's your sign.
It reminds me of the Marble Mountain.
Yep. So now she's like, "Well, are they mean? Are they eat? I mean, will they hurt me?" And no, you know, I mean, you go
Not
out with a respect for nature. Don't mess with their stuff.
Don't mess with their stuff.
Yeah,
that's the moral of my story. And then Tom down there is asking, do you see that, Lewis? He's asking, do you think, I think so. I think, I believe they are, but I believe they have another capability of jumping between worlds. They can cross the veil, so to speak.
Yeah, I think
and,
so.
They definitely have the capability of cloaking or camouflaging or something like that.
Yeah, it's like a polar bear. You know, their hair is transparent. I think their hair is the same thing because they have no, medulla. So their hair is basically kind of see-through.
I didn't know that.
Same as a polar bear. And even if what is it called? What is that video called? Well, he died, but anyway, he had a sighting after he had seen some footprints, and then it came out, and then it stopped at a bush, and then took a look at him, and you couldn't tell it was standing there until it took off again. And then I was like, wow, you couldn't even see that thing standing there.
Yeah.
You know, because the way it's camouflaged. It was stood right in front of the bush and looking, and I was following with my eyes, and I lost it right there. I didn't know where it went. And then it turned its head and walked, and then I noticed it. I was like, wow, that's pretty good.
Just to get back, kind of what I was so rudely interrupted by the wonderful internet connection right now. Tom Serene's question: do you think Bigfoot is flesh and blood? I do believe they are flesh and blood, but they have a very unique set of skills and abilities. So
that's kind of what we were just saying.
Right.
I think they could probably have the ability to just stand right in front of you, and you would not know it.
I know for a fact I was within. I know for a fact I was within 3 or 4 feet of one, and never saw it. It growled at me. It rattled the guts inside my rib cage. It growled at me, and I didn't even see the one on the other side of me peeking up out of the bushes.
When this thing
was probably 10 to 12 feet away.
When that thing hollered at me like that, it was more like that whoop sound, and it rattled it vibrated through my whole entire body.
Mhm.
And one person that I told the story to said, well, there's a lot of exotic animals in this area. And I said, you got that freaking right. And it ain't no daggum deer or something what you thinking it is. That is not what it is. Well, these animals can make a lot of strange noises. And I said, one that vibrates through your whole body? Come on. Not a deer.
Right.
Not a whatever kind of animal that looks like a deer that's running around out here. I don't know. Not those kind of animals ain't going to make nothing vibrate through your body.
Mm-mm.
And so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel it's like standing inside the speaker at a rock concert.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's like
It's
being
insane.
at a concert, at a rock concert. If y'all have ever been to a rock concert and stood in front of one of those huge speakers and just that vibration that comes off of that, well, multiply that by about 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, y'all.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
It's been a pleasure.
It's good to finally tell my story. Lewis has pretty much heard it, and it's been over. Well, gosh, probably a year ago now, huh, Lewis? That I sent you that email with that story, and
I wasn't telling anybody because I didn't want you to be labeled as crazy.
He promised
you do
me
it on
he
your
wouldn't.
own.
He promised me. He promised, and thank you for keeping your promise to me, Lewis. You're such a great human. And he promised me he would never tell, and he didn't, as far as I know.
No.
So
Lewis is a good guy. That's why we're doing this together.
He knew I would finally get to the point to where I would be able to more tell my story.
Well, back then I didn't have a podcast with him.
Yeah, true.
And I said, you should go on a podcast and tell somebody. And I'm thinking,
yeah, you were telling me to call that one creepy show, whatever they're called. And I'm like, no. Although I heard his story on there, and I'm like, no, I'm not going into that one. No way am I going to tell my story on that thing. And that guy won't let you talk anyway. What's that guy? Well, we don't want to bust nobody.
American Cryptid?
Yes.
Yeah,
he won't let nobody talk anyhow. He interrupts too much.
Yeah, he was asking me a lot of questions. I kept going on and on and on. I just kept going.
Yeah. I was just like, shut up, man. Let Lewis talk. He's got a great story. But I
was trying to get through the whole story within an hour, but there wasn't enough.
No, and just like mine, I know I've ran on longer than what y'all probably planned on being on, but
that's fine. It turned out better than I expected.
Well,
thank you for coming on.
I appreciate y'all, and I appreciate everybody in the chat that's been so gracious, and this is a great community y'all got going on, so I admire y'all for heading this up and giving a way for people to voice their experiences.
Oh yeah. I think it's a good feeling.
And it helps too to talk about it, especially with like-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
because your experience may be a very similar experience to something that someone had in the chat. You know what I mean? And that your experience is going to validate to them that they're not crazy. And
I wish Rachel and Ken were in here, because one night when I was in here, Rachel was, I'm not going to keep you much longer, I swear, bud. But Rachel was talking about Heyoka or something like that. Heyoki or something, and I didn't know what it was.
It was Chiaho. Chiaho?
It started with the H. It kind of looked like it was spelled like coyote, but it was Heko. Do you know what I'm talking about, Lewis?
No, I don't know.
And man, I wish she was in here. Anyway, she said that one night when I was in the chat, and I was saying I heard something. I was telling about I heard one something that made a bunch of different animal sounds, and she said that word, and I thought, I haven't heard that before. Okay. I'll look it up. And so I looked it up, and what I found by it was the description of me to a T. And that is somebody that is like an empath that is but a super sensitive empath. And evidently that's one of the reasons that I had this experience. I know what people are feeling. I feel what other people are feeling.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like a sponge and I soak it up. And sometimes it took me a long time to learn that I could soak up other people's emotions and I thought they were my own and they were not. So that was a huge battle for me dealing with that. I just thought it was just an empath. But when she said that word and I looked it up and I went, I'm not just an empath, I'm that. It's like I don't have superpowers, y'all. I don't mean it like that. And I'm super sensitive.
Well, Rachel is an empath herself, and I mean, if you wanted to
I think
possibly
she
talk to
saw
her,
me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She was taking in what I was feeling, and I think it would be great if Rachel and I could hang out because I think we could learn a lot from each other.
well, I think we might be able to make a conversation happen between you two.
Cool.
I think she would probably help you with your sensitivities and stuff like that, and what they feel like, and how to control them or
control them, basically. Yeah, I've learned a
Right,
little bit
so-
along the way, but probably not enough. But I don't know. But I watched their latest video, and that was pretty cool with the eye shine. And I don't know, and I think I got away from that video without making a comment. I squirreled or got distracted and didn't get to, and I have to be sure and go back and leave them a comment because I want them to slow that video down as slow as they can get it. Because there are so many more things in that video. And it's just like Lewis. One of his videos, he has the trail cam set up. I was screenshotting some of that. And I saw some crazy stuff in some of those pictures. So I sent him an email and I said, hey, I screenshotted some of your stuff. And I'm going to figure out how to explain Mark or something what I'm seeing so you can see it. And that way, a couple of weeks passed. I kind of got away from me. And then I thought one day, I need to do that and send that to Lewis. Yeah, and when I went back and pulled up the pictures, there was nothing there what I was seeing before. So let me tell you what, y'all. They have the ability to somehow change digital files.
You need to go back and watch the Rachel and Ken King podcast that we did.
Oh, I've seen it. I was present.
That will answer that question.
Yeah,
she was there.
Well, and as a matter of fact, Rachel and I, that's when we were having the conversation in the chat. And I said, I think, and I was telling her, Lewis and his things and all the screenshots. And she's like, I said, I think they have the ability to change those things because that's not there what I was seeing now. And she said, oh, yeah. But, speak of the devil, there's Ken now.
Yeah, he just got in.
Just got back from the woods. We were just talking about you and Rachel.
Out there playing with Junior.
Yeah. Oh, Junior. I think there was more than just Junior out there the other night, Ken. I want you to slow your last video down as slow as you can get it because I was seeing a lot of different eye shine in different places. And look up. Look up.
I'm going to go look now.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah,
Me
y'all
too.
gotta watch Ken's latest video.
Yep.
Look up.
Yep. And now we might be having some proto-pygmy activity out there, which is interesting. The tiny little feet and handprints he's finding. I mean,
they say they travel together, and like I say, with these structures that I found, I believe that that's what they were for. I believe that the bigger beings have built them as trailways for the little beings. That's what I believe was going on out there, and I disturbed it. Don't do it, y'all. Don't
Yeah,
do
don't
that.
I ain't doing it.
Yeah, I try not to mess with their stuff either. You know, I'll come up and I'll video it and everything and stuff, but
Yeah.
I don't
I
play
learned my
with it.
lesson on that, but
Yeah.
I didn't know any better. I didn't know. All
Now you
right.
do.
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed
Yeah.
it. Thanks for having
It is.
me, and you guys keep keeping on.
Oh yeah.
It's been a pleasure having you.
All right. Thanks,
All
everybody
right.
out there. Enjoy the journey.
Yep. Yep. Everybody have a wonderful
All right.
Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Happy day to all you mothers.
Thank you.
And make sure if you want to
Kiss
be a
Oscar.
guest on the show, send me an email at the email address on the bottom of the screen, and we'll get you set up on a show date. We'd love to have you. And everybody have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next week.
See Oscar.
Bye,
Oscar.
See y'all.
See you later.
All right, we'll see y'all later, guys. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next weekend.
See you there, Oscar. All you see is.
All right. I know.
That's weird.
All right. Happy hunting, everybody.
See you later.
Have a good night.